Who can say where the road goes, where the day flows? Only time. And who can say if your love grows as your heart shows? Only time.
Good morning, and welcome back to History Class, where we are once again talking about, you guessed it, the Roman Empire. Okay, so how big was the Roman Empire? It was big. It's not the biggest empire that ever lived, that ever existed, but it was big. Here's a map, and all that part there that you see there, those are the parts that Rome ruled. As you can see, there's a lot of it. Parts of Europe, parts of Africa, parts of Asia. It was huge. And that was part of the problem. It was too big. Rome may have been powerful, but it started to have some problems. And the problem is, it's just so big. How do you manage all of that land, all of those people? Some of those people are peaceful. Some of those people are not peaceful. We talked about Boudica yesterday. Some of those Roman governors, they're looking out for the people, but a lot of them are just looking out for themselves. They're using their position to get money, take money for themselves, make themselves and their friends rich, and they don't care about the people. There's just too much to take care of. So what can you do? Well, the Roman Empire was there for a long time, but finally we come to this guy, Emperor Diocletian. In the year AD 285, he said, you know what? Rome is too big Rome is too small to rule all of this empire. We need to split it up. We need to have two Roman empires, the Eastern Roman Empire and the Western Roman Empire. And so Diocletian split the Roman Empire into two. Diocletian decided that he would rule the Eastern Empire, and he gave the Western Empire to this guy, one of his generals, called Maximian. He also made two other people emperors, sort of like junior emperors. They were still called Caesar, because that was the word for emperor after Julius Caesar. So Rome is split into halves, and each half has two rulers. Now, that went back and forth for many, many years. Different rulers would come in and say, no. We can't have two empires. We need to have one empire. So Rome was made into one empire. Then later it was split into three parts. Then later it came back and was split into two parts again. Finally, in the year 395, so more than 100 years after Diocletian decided to split the Roman Empire, the empire split into two for good. The western half was still ruled by Rome, and the eastern half was ruled from the city of Constantinople, who was named after the emperor Constantine, who we will talk about tomorrow, because Constantine did something that would change the Roman Empire forever. Do you remember what that was? We talked about it last week. Do you remember what it was? Well, if you don't remember, come back tomorrow, where we will talk about Constantine, or come back on Thursday, rather. We're going to talk about Constantine and how he changed the Roman Empire. So that's what we have for today. It was a short lesson for today, but it shows problems within the empire. People who are getting greedy and hurting the empire, people who are fighting each other rather than looking out for their enemies. Rome is not as strong as it once was. It's big, but it's not as strong as it used to be. And we'll see what happens to Rome once it starts to weaken over the next few weeks. For now, let's stop and go over our questions for today. Question number 1, when did Rome split into two empires? And that happened in the year AD 285. Question number 2, why did it split? It split because it had gotten too big for any one ruler to be in charge of all of it. It was just too big. And question number 3, who was the emperor that split the Roman Empire? And that was Emperor Diocletian. Emperor Diocletian. Okay. All right. Well, that's all we have for today. And like I said, come back on Thursday. We will talk about probably the most famous ruler of the eastern half of the empire, Emperor Constantine the Great. So, goodbye, and I will see you on Thursday.